Good evening. We're continuing our Psalm series. It's going to be this shiur Leilui Nishmat Yitzchak ben Rivka and Avraham ben Chaviva. Last week I was in Miami, so I wasn't here. But the week before, we arrived to chapter 32. Remember, we have altogether 150 chapters. And now we will do chapter 33. This series gaining more and more popularity, Baruch Hashem. Before I started it, I had doubts. But now I see that, Baruch Hashem, lots of people, they read Tehilim, and they want to know what they're doing. You can do it 20, 30 years, and you don't know what you're doing. You're saying words, you don't understand the depth of what you're doing. It's not as good. Like everything in life, when a person understands what he does, always have more interest to do it. So, in general, this Mizmor, it's of course, as usual, praising Hashem about His greatness, about the creation of the world, about His supervision on all the nations, especially on His nation, and the righteous people that fear Him and follow His ways. And the praises are in an order of 7 different praises. You know, each one is by itself. And actually the intention of the writer was to teach the nation the foundation of faith in the words of God, the foundation, the basis ha'emunah, and Hashem interaction with His nation, with the world, with 7 different foundations, you know. And we're going to see, like he's using the language of Rina, which means joy, Tehilah, praising, praise, Hodaya, thanking, Zimra, singing, Shira, different form of singing, Nigun, playing music, Truah, what we blow the shofar, we call it Truah, or the trumpets, which it's like an announcement for all the people to gather together, right? So this is a summary of this Mizmor. Before we're going into the words and explaining them, we can see a little bit more depth about this Mizmor. The Malbim, which lived about 150 years ago, was one of the important commentators on the Tanakh. Very important, and thank you. And he explained that this Mizmor is teaching us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is running the world, He's the boss of the world. He runs the world in 2 different ways, like 2 different channels. What does it mean? The first one, it's nature. Nature, He made the laws of nature, and the laws are routine. They work every day. Everything works according to the program. And the second way Hashem runs the world, it's called Hashgacha, supervision. We have to understand what does it mean, Hashgacha, supervision. We have Hashgacha Pratit, Hashgacha Klalit. There's a general supervision. There's an individual supervision on each individual, on each detail. We have to understand what it means. So, we have the rule here. The laws of the nature never change, ever. Never, ever change. But the supervision change all the time. It's not set rules for that. Which means Hashem adjusts Himself to what's happened in the world and to the behaving of the people. And every transaction that we do in our life may affect the supervision of Hashem when it comes to our life or when it comes to our environment. I will explain a little bit further. The behaving of the human being, of course, they're always under the laws of nature. You have the law of nature. You need oxygen, you need water, you need to eat, you know. You have all these laws of nature that you cannot escape. You are under those laws. Sometimes, usually when Hashem supervises your life, everything is done complying with the laws of nature, not out of the ordinary. It means Hashem wants to send you money. He wants to send you a lot of money. You're a worker that make $500 a week. A simple worker working for a store or something. You're making very little, $500 a week. Now you need to marry your daughter in 3 months. You need, I don't know, $30,000, $40,000 in one shot to make a simple wedding. You don't have it. And you don't have rich people to start borrow for them. And by the way, how are you going to pay it back? So you need a miracle here. So what's going on here? Hashem can make a miracle that all of a sudden, something will happen and a hand falls from heaven and again gives you $30,000. But he's not going to do it for you. Why? Because you're not Moshe Rabbeinu, you're not Avraham Avinu, and you're not David HaMelech. People that went against the law of nature in their Avodat Hashem, serving God, willing to jump into the fire like Avraham Avinu, willing to give their life for the truth, giving up money and kingdom and wealth, all for the truth of Hashem, measure for measure is willing to go against the law of nature to help them, to actually make a clear miracle like Nachum Ish Gamzu in the Talmud, the way his level was, or Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, or Rabbi Akiva. But ordinary people, Hashem helps them only complying with the laws of nature. That people cannot say, oh, there was a clear miracle. It is a miracle, but Hashem covers the miracle with the laws of nature. So how Hashem can make a miracle to a person? He finds a wallet on the street. He walks on the street, and he finds a bag, and he opens the bag, and he says, full of cash. So some people can say, oh, God sent him the money a month before he needed it to start paying for his daughter's wedding. That's the righteous people. But the wicked people would say, coincidence. A coincidence. He found it. It can happen by itself, Somebody lost it, and it happened to be there. So Hashem always does it in a way not to ruin the 50-50 balance. That the righteous and the wicked will always be balanced. Why? That keep the free choice in the world, and the test is still active. If it would be a hand falling from heaven, of course, everyone will be righteous after that. Who's not going to believe in Hashem? When he see that he took a righteous person and he sent him a hand all the way from heaven, and he handed him $30,000 for the wedding, of course, all the wicked people will start thinking about changing their ways. But this is what it means. Ashgacha, that Hashem goes and give a person something that is against the law of nature. That nature of a person that walk in this store, the laws of the world is that he make $20,000, $30,000 a year. That's the law. That's what everyone makes more or less in a country. But now Hashem needs to double his salary for a certain occasion. So what's happened? He organized it in such a way to give it to him in a special way. But as long as it looks like it's nature. However, there's sometimes miracles that no one can deny. No one can deny it. Like for instance, when Saddam Hussein shot his missiles in a Gulf War, one missile hit a building in Ramat Gan, 3 floors, many apartments. It all fell on the ground. Nobody died. All the people, the apartments were all empty full with people. 2 here, 3 there, 5 there, 6 there. Everyone fell with the building, and it's not here sheetracks. It's bricks. From the top fall on your head. The entire building falls on your head, and nobody died. Nobody died. Nobody got injured even. Incredible, unbelievable. 50,000 apartments reported serious damage to the government. Nobody died from these damages. Not one person. It's a clear miracle. Another clear miracle. When about 25 years ago, the Arabs prepared rocks size of a melon for months. They filled up barrels of big rocks up there in a mosque, and they waited for the holiday of Sukkot when they know 20,000 Jews gathered in Chol HaMoed in Sukkot. Just when the Jews were praying, 20,000 women and children and old people, like sardines, they started to throw thousands of rocks, sizes of melons, not little stones. Rocks like this falling from the top on 20,000 people. Should have been 5,000 dead, minimum. Minimum 5,000 dead and another 5,000 in bad condition. 20,000 people like sardine. If you throw a little clementine, from the top, it will fall on someone's head. It can't go wrong. It just can't go wrong. It doesn't have any other place to fall. After that, they filmed the floor. They took with a video camera. They went and you look at the floor, and you can't really see floor. You only see big rocks. Not one person got killed. Not one person got injured. I think, in my opinion, if we're honest enough, I don't see that this miracle is less than any of the miracles that happened in Egypt. What's the difference? What's the difference? Big animals came and killed, people, or grasshoppers ate all the trees in Egypt. Why is it a bigger miracle than what happened here? Do you know what's going on here? In soccer fields in England, when they fight the fans, the place collapsed, 80 people died, 100 people died, 30 people died. Only little place collapsed. Just from the people running and panicking, they fall on the floor, the young kids, they step on their head, they kill them from the pressure. And over here, 20,000 people with old ladies and old men, 80 years old, 90 years old, little children. They started to run like crazy when the rocks were falling. They should have fallen one on top of the other. It could have had to be a catastrophe. Not one person got injured. Not one person got injured. This is a clear miracle against the law of nature. And why did it happen? Because a minute before there was a Birkat Kohanim, 200 Kohanim. Just say, Varchecha Hashem v'yishmerecha. The effect of the blessing was very fresh. They didn't plan the attack in the right time. ממש a minute after the Birkat Kohanim of Musaf, they started to throw the rocks, but the blessing of the protection, Baruch Hashem, worked out. So like I say, we have the law of natures that never change, but the Ashgacha change all the time, according to the behaving of the person, of course, still under the control of the law of natures, and sometimes even against the law of nature. If a person is a very big tzaddik, like Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, David, and many others, right? That's when Hashem is willing to go out of his way, out of the laws of natures, and do something clear, because the Satan does not have a claim against it. See, if Hashem makes a clear miracle for a person that is not a tzaddik, is not rasha, is not righteous, the Satan right away scream objection. Why does he deserve such a miracle? Who is he? He barely keeps Shabbat b'chlal. All day he speaks Lashon Hara. He's not modest. He's never give tzedakah. Why are you going to change the law of the world for this rasha? Who is he? But when you come to change the law of nature for Moshe Rabbeinu, or for David HaMelech, or for Avraham Avinu, the Satan is mute. The Satan respect. Why? Just like in court. You have a lawyer, sometimes he gives more respect to one person than to the other, depend who the person is, right? So this is how it works. Now we have here in this Mizmor a few words, like Renana. What does it mean, Renana? Renana, it's come from the word Rina. What does it mean? Happiness, Simcha, that comes from inside after something special happened. What does it mean, Bekinor? Praise Hashem with a violin. Violin. We play violin. But what's so special about violin? Violin, it's kinor. What's kinor? Kinor, it's come from the word ken. Ken means honest. Kene. Kinor, kene. Kene, honest. Straight. That's why the strings of the kinor, straight and parallel, not crooked. Straight. It's giving an indication that a person has to be honest, and as part of his honesty is to praise Hashem. Benevel asor ve'asor. It's also instruments of music. There's an argument between the Chachamim if it's one or two instruments, Nevel ve'asor, if it's considered one, or it's two different instruments. But one thing we do know, that it has 10 strings. There's no instrument in the world today that have 10 strings. Guitar have 6, violin I think 4. They don't have 10. It's very hard to create such a thing. They were playing an instrument with 10 strings. Imagine guitar, not with 6, with 10. It's very difficult. So this is the Nevel ve'asor. One more thing. In this world, Shira b'geula, when this world, all the songs that happen in the world, the Chachamim, the Gemara say, Az yashir Moshe. אז ישיר משה ובני ישראל את השירה הזאת להשם. What does it mean, אז ישיר? Moshe already sang. Yashir means in the future. Why the Torah use such a language? The Torah has to say, אז שר Moshe. Shar, not Yashir. He already sang. Yashir means we are talking about the song when Mashiach would come. Moshe Rabbeinu will sing. The ones he sang already, fine, it's obvious, everybody saw. Az Yashir Moshe, Chazal say, Yud Shir, Yud Shir, Yud it's 10 in Hebrew, Shir songs, 10 songs. There are 10 songs in the creation that great people sang to Hashem. David HaMelech, Dvorah, Moshe, Miriam, there's different songs. But what's the difference between 9 songs to the last one? That the 9 songs, each one of them call in the Tanakh Shira, female, not Shir, Shira. Shira means female language in Hebrew. Shir means male. It's separate from the other 9. Why? Because when Mashiach comes, it will be a different way of singing, different song. It's going to be Shir Chadash. That's what we say. Shiru LaHashem, Shir Chadash. It should have been Shira Chadasha. Shir Chadash. What does it mean? It will be like all the songs in this world, it's like female. Why? Female, she has a salvation. She has Geula when the baby comes out. But then on the next time, when she becomes pregnant again, she suffers again. And then the Geula comes. And then she suffers again, and then the Geula comes out. Just like this world. We had Egypt. We came out of Egypt, Baruch Hashem. Then came the Babylonians. So it's like another pregnancy, Chevle Leda. Then we got rid of them. The baby came out. Then came Achashverosh and Haman. We got rid of him. The baby came out. Then came the Greeks. Another pregnancy, another suffering. Then the baby came out. We got rid of them. They all disappeared. Then came the Romans. Another pregnancy. And then another way of suffering. And then we got rid of them. The baby came out. But when Mashiach comes, the baby comes out and no more suffering forever and ever. That's why they changed the language of that song. That will be the final eternal song that we will sing to Hashem when Mashiach would come. Let's see some of the words of this Mizmor. Ranenu tzadikim ba'Hashem. Ranenu, like I say, it means sing with rina, with happiness that comes from inside. Tzadikim means righteous, ba'Hashem, it means in front of Hashem. Laisharim na'avat tehilah. People that have honest hearts, not only honest in their words, their heart is pure. Do you know these people that even if they want to lie, they can't? You come to them and say, I'll give you $1 million. I need you to come, stand in court, and say that you were with me. I was with you at the same time. That they're blaming me. I'll give you $1 million. And if you're not going to do it, I'll kill you. What does he have a choice? He has to do it. So I don't want $1 million. I'm afraid you kill me. So I say whatever you want. He said, no. You must take the $1 million. Because why does he give him the $1 million? Because if he gives him the $1 million and take pictures, then he will never open out his mouth anymore. It's like it's insurance, guarantee. But if you only put a gun to his head, tomorrow he comes to the judge and say, you know what I said that a week ago? Because they put a gun. But if he comes a week ago and say, you know why? Because they threatened me, he's going to come and say he's a liar. Look, he got money for it. You get yourself into trouble. That's why you must take the money. Once you take the money, you're down with them. So if a person wants to come and lie in court, he can't say the lie. Just he becomes red. He can't say it. I know people like this. They just can't. No matter how much money you offer them, no matter if you threaten them that you kill them, they still can't say the lie. They just can't. Why? Their heart is so pure, it just doesn't come out. It can't. For them, it's like the end of the world to say such a lie. But some people, for the right amount, they not only say the lie, they'll say the lie with joy and happiness. You understand? Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach Zatzal, there was one old man that the Israeli hospital threw him to the street. They told him, there's nothing we can do for you. Whatever we could, we could. Then you're catching a bed here. We don't have room to take care of you. It's not an old age facility here. Go to one of your children. Let them take care of you. So it was freezing winter, and one person heard that this old man is on the street now. Doesn't have a place to go. So he said to Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, what should we do? So he said to him, go convince the hospital to keep him there for a few more days until the freezing weather will finish. So he went, he told them all kinds of stories about this old man, and he lies, and he convinced them to keep him for 2 more days until the freeze will go away, the snow, whatever. So then when he came back to Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, he was very happy, like smiling. I got the old man to stay, I got him to stay in the hospital. So Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach said to him, but why are you happy? Why are you smiling? So he said, because I achieved my mission. I wanted the old man to be in the hospital for 2 more days to stay warm. I told them all kinds of stories. They bought it, and they kept them in. How can I not be happy? So Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach say, it's one thing that you kept the old man in, and Baruch Hashem, nothing bad will happen to him, fine. But you had to lie for it, and for that you have to cry, not to smile. You had to do it by lying. Yes, maybe the lie was permitted, but what righteous person is happy to say a lie? You have to cry that you had no choice to say a lie. When you say a lie, what are you smiling and happy? The Torah says, midvar sheker tirchak, stay away from lies. That was my whole lecture yesterday in Brooklyn. Almost 2 hours, giving one example after the other, how much Hashem hates liars. And what a big sin it is to lie, even a small one. And how important it is to stick to the truth and never move away from the truth. And not to be a dirty politician and a hypocrite and to do all these things that people do today. How important it is. And this is the main test in the life of a religious Jew. Not just to be a robot that keeps mitzvot. You can train the robot, he also will put tefillin. You didn't see the robot writing Sefer Torah? With the remote control. They move the arm, he comes with the things, and he begins to write. Did you see that or no? They made a robot. He writes a Sefer Torah for you. It's not kosher, but for the museum, they made it. You understand? So it says, Layesharim, those who are honest in their heart, Na'ava Tehilah. Na'ava means na'eh, come from the word Shchora ani ve'nava. You know that in Shir HaShirim? Shchora ani ve'nava. Shchora means black. It's Lashon Sagi Naor. What does it mean, Lashon Sagi Naor? In Hebrew, there is a concept. When you want to say something negative, you say the opposite. You don't speak negative. You don't say Ra, bad. You say Lo Tov, not good. Don't say Rasha. Say Eno Tzadik, is not Tzadik. Why? Better to speak in a clean language. So it says over here, what does it mean, Shchora? Al odot ha'isha kushit asher lakach. Kushit is the nation of Cush. You know, Tzipora, she wasn't black. Why they called her black? Against Ain Hara. Also Kushit Black, it was a nickname, an expression for someone that was very beautiful, very pretty. Also, sometimes they want to read in the Torah that Hashem cares the wicked Jews, but they don't want to say it. So what do they say? They say Hashem cares the wicked enemies of the Jews. But it was really about the Jews, but everybody knows what you're talking about. But you don't want to say it out of your mouth. There's people who makpidim about it, but it doesn't come out of their mouth. So it says, La'isharim na'avat tehilah. Those who are honest and have pure heart, praising Hashem, it's wonderful to them. It's beautiful. Hodu la'Hashem bekinor, thank God with the violin. Benevel asor zamru lo. Nevel asor, like I told you, it's either one instrument or two. Asor means eser, 10. Nevel is that strings that they're standing and they play with 10 strings. Nevel asor most likely is one instrument that have 10 strings. That's why they call it nevel asor. Some say it's two different instruments. Nevel is one and asor is another one. Zamrulo. Zamrulo means sing to him. Shiru lo shir chadash. Sing to him a new song in a male language, like I said. Not all the female ones that we already sang. Hetivu nagen bitruah. Improve the music with trumpets. Make it louder. Make everyone pay attention to it. Ki yashar dvar Hashem, because the ways of Hashem are straight. V'chol ma'aseu be'emunah. Every one of his action is with faithfulness. It's faithful. Word is a word. Time is time. Promise is a promise. Reward is a reward. Punishment is a punishment. With Hashem, there's no surprises. Nothing goes wrong. If he said so, that's it. It's a done deal. Ohev tzedakah u'mishpat. Hashem love tzedakah, charity, but it's also mean justice, tzedek, u'mishpat, and trial. He wants people to be tried. Why? Not to punish them. Sometimes the trial give you reward also. Depend what you did. Trial is not necessarily something bad. If you put you in trial and they discover in the middle of the trial that you actually did the right thing, you get a huge honor from it. Maybe the government will give you a special certificate. It's going to be very good for business. Everyone knows the president gave it to you because in a trial they found out not only you're innocent, you actually did the right thing. So a trial can work both ways. It can clear you, it can find you guilty. It says, Bidvar Hashem shamayim na'asu. In the words of God, heaven were created. Uveruach piv kol tzeva'am. In the air, it's a metaphoric. What came out of the breath that came out of his speaking created all these trillions of galaxies. So many stars and galaxies. In less than a second, Hashem said the word, and they're all standing in their place and moving in the right order, in the right track. Kones, kaned me'ayam. Kones means gather. Kaned, ned, it's a wall, standing wall. Kones kaned me'ayam. Hashem made the water stand like walls. Ve'amayim lahem choma miminam u'mismolam. Like it says in the Torah. When the nation of Israel went in, the water came up and made two walls, like one wall here and one wall here, and they walked in. And some says there was actually 12 aisles. Each tribe walked in his own aisle. And you have a glass, which from ice, and you can see from the other aisle who is walking next to you, which was very interesting the way Hashem did it. So, kones kaned me'ayam, noten be'otzarot teomot. He puts in the bottom of the earth all the water that are going so deep under. Otzar means a place like a storage that you hide your important stuff under the ground. In the old days, it used to be very deep in the ground. People hide what they have. They didn't have Citibank, so they didn't have safes. So they put it under the ground. They found no one looks. They dig a place. They hide everything they have. They put some leaves. And they remember the third tree from this forest next to these 20 steps from here. That's how they know where to find their stuff. That's how it was in the Holocaust. When the Jews could no longer have bank accounts, many of them hid lots of cash and jewelry in places in the forest, because they knew it's a matter of time until the Germans will come in and take away everything they have. Unfortunately, they got murdered, and nobody knows where these treasures are. If one day they dig all the forests around the area where the Jews are there, they'll find billions of treasures over there. Some of them had money in Switzerland, but then in Switzerland also it wasn't safe for them. You know? Yireu me'Hashem kol haaretz. Fear God, all the people who sits on the earth, who lives on earth. Mimenu yagoru kol yoshvei tevel. Everyone who lives in this world has to fear God. And like I said hundreds of times before, to fear people, it's nothing great. To fear animals is not great. To fear money, police, courts, whatever you want to fear, none of it, it's something to be proud of. But to fear God, there's no bigger honor than this. If a person asks you, what, are you afraid of Hashem? You're afraid of God? You say, yes, very much. I saw the punishment of all the Reshaim, all the wicked people in history. I don't want to end up like them. I don't want to end like all the people that the Torah speaks about. I don't want to end like Korach under the ground. I don't want to end like all the idol worshippers that they all got killed. I don't want to end like the people who made the golden calf. I don't want to end like the people who went to Bnot Ammon and Moab to make sins with the women, that they all got wiped out. I don't want to end like that. I'm not a fool. A fool reads in the Torah what happened to people like him, and he's not afraid. But someone that is smart, he reads in the Torah and he says, that's talking about me. I am Korach. I speak against the rabbis all the time. That's going to be my end. I went against and made him not come to speak. That's going to be my end. I am the one who didn't let all kinds of good things happen in the shul. I am Korach. I better do tshuva before I'm going to finish like him. That's a smart Jew. Not a person who says, don't worry, that was in the old days. Today everything is fine. Hashem is okay today. It's nice. Everyone can do whatever they want. Rabbi, don't be fanatic, please. Don't scare us for nothing. Continue to dream. When the dream explodes, you'll have the shock of your life. What do you think? You're going to run away? Imagine the surprise. You know, before the Germans came and took the Jews to the camps, many of the Jews were getting angry. They said, enough! Don't tell us these things! It's only showers! They believe that nonsense. They only take you, they sterilize you, it's showers, and we're all going to come back. And they were sure, everything is fine, they didn't even hide anything. When they realized that they're not coming back, imagine the shock they had. What a disappointment. We don't want to be surprised. We want always to put our finger on our pulse to make sure we're still alive and we can still fix it. Before we realize, I just said my uncle passed away this week. His son told me, my cousin, he told me he gathered with all his brothers and with his sister. They sat until 11 in the morning. They own a restaurant in Afula. It's like saying goodbye to all his relatives. And then he walked to get tickets for Purim. Purim, there's a carnival or something, some kind of a party. He went, he sat on a bench on the street, fell on the floor in the middle of the street and died. He said 2 minutes before he was laughing, sitting at a table, talking. He was a very, very active person. He walked, all of a sudden, in less than a second it happens. What do you think? All of a sudden you have dizzy, he sit on a bench, fall on the floor, and die in the middle of the street. People saw it. That's called Dom Lev. The heart stopped beating. That's it. How much we have to appreciate the heart that works. Take it for granted. Every beat of the heart, we had to thank Hashem for 7 million years straight. For every time he beats, boom, another one, and sends more blood to the brain, to the body, to the stomach. Every heartbeat, boom, another one. Every breath, we had to thank Hashem for millions of years for that. We don't have it. He doesn't ask us to sit and thank him for 7 million years. But if we were honest enough, this is what we really deserve. Oh, another minute of life? Pooh, how much I owe you. The Gemara says one rabbi was sitting, trying to learn Torah in Israel. It was very humid, very hot, hard to learn like this when you're all sticky and sweat. So he got his daughter to make hair for him. And he said, you stand, you'll be the fan for me. You go like this, and by the time I finish, I will make you perfume from the roses. He knew how to take the leaves and squeeze them, and drop by drop. What we have made rose water today for $2.99 here in the store, it was handmade. It took him a long time to make. And then he gave it to his daughter for making him air condition. One time, the Gemara say, as she goes like this, and a little hair comes in this heat, there was all of a sudden a breeze came, like a real breeze. And he cooled him off nicely. And he said to his daughter, you're making me little hair like this. I had to work for hours to prepare you this perfume. Imagine how much perfume I owe Hashem just for that 1 second, for all this air that just came. Do you understand how a righteous person thinks? Nothing he takes for granted. Hashem doesn't owe me anything. Everything I have is chesed. If he judged me according to the Torah, I will not survive a second. Not 1 second I would not survive. Am I 100% keeping Shabbat like he asked me to? No. Do I watch my mouth never to say Lashon Hara like he warned me? No. Do I eat only strictly kosher like he said? No. Am I praying with devotion and tears like he say I have to? No. I learned Torah all my life with love? No. I'm honest and grateful and help and do chesed and help the poor and help the sick and help the widows and help the orphans like he said? No. What yes? Show me one thing that we can say yes. You tell me. One thing, that you can hold the Sefer Torah behind me, hold it, and say, I put my life, that this mitzvah I do exactly like Hashem said. Exactly, not 99%. 100% I do like Hashem said. Pray, tefillin, whatever. Can we have one of the 613 laws that we can put our finger and say, with this mitzvah I'm great. I'm great, I never messed up. Can we say such thing or no? So what are you complaining that you don't have this and you don't have that? Everything you have, it's already a free gift. How much more you want? Whatever you have, it's already a free gift. So he writes to you, David HaMelech, he says, first, everyone has to fear Hashem. כי הוא אמר ויהי, הוא ציווה ויעמוד. Word of Hashem, he said that that's what should happen, and right away, everything he say happens. How can you not fear him? Hashem הפיר עצת גויים איני מחשבות עמים. Hashem canceled the plans of all the wicked Gentiles, the nations that wanted to destroy the Jews, one after the other. He messed up their plan. Ani machshevot amim, remove and destroyed all the planning that those nations had. Atzat Hashem leolam ta'amod, the advice of Hashem is standing forever. Machshevot libo ledor vador, everything he thought, everything he planned in his brilliant mind is standing for generations and generations. No one can ever find a better advice than this. Ashrei hagoy asher Hashem Elohav. How lucky is the nation that God is his God. Which nation we are talking about? The nation of Israel. You are my children, Hashem said. So why they call us Goy? Goy, it's a non-Jew. It's not true. The meaning of the word Goy or Goyim, it doesn't mean non-Jewish. No. It means nations. Goy means a nation. Goyim means nations, plural. So when you speak about a non-Jew, since he comes from another nation, you call him a goy, but you can also call the Jew a goy. But you just call him goy kadosh, because that's what the Torah says. V'yitem li mamlechet kohanim vegoy kadosh. You will be to me a kingdom of kohanim, of high priests, and holy nation. What word is using? Goy kadosh, holy goy, which means you can be a goy that is not holy, you can be a goy that is holy. Depends if you belong to the nation of Hashem or not. Mishamayim, העם בחר לנחלה לו. Hashem chose the nation of Israel to belong to him. משמיים הביט Hashem. Hashem is looking, searching, looking from up there, from heaven, and ראה את כל בני האדם. He watched all people. Nobody can escape from his views, from his watching. ממכון שבטו השגיח אל כל יושבי הארץ. Hashem is supervising every creature, not only every Jew, every non-Jew, every animal, every insect, every mosquito, every leaf that falls from the tree, every tree that grows, every wind that comes or does not come, the temperature in each place, everything is supervised. Everything. היוצר יחד ליבם, המבין אל כל מעשיהם. What does it mean, היוצר יחד ליבם? He creates this nation of Israel all like one unit, like one heart. One heart. המבין אל כל מעשיהם. He knows how to analyze all the actions of every person and everything that was in his mind when he does what he does. That's only God knows. Nobody else can do that. אין המלך נושע ברוב חיל. The king doesn't need soldiers to win against his enemies. When he fought the Romans or the Greeks, did he need a lot of soldiers? How many people won against the Greeks? Judah Maccabee and his brother, 5 people, and a few more 100 soldiers against the biggest empire in the world. How did we win in Egypt? Did we have any chance against Egypt? We didn't even have weapon. How did we win them? Hashem did everything. Hashem yilachem lachem v'atem tachrishun. I will do all the war, I will fight for you, and you sit still and be quiet. Just be righteous and be quiet. I'm doing everything. Gibor lo yinatzel berov koach. A hero cannot get saved from his enemy with lots of energy, strength. Sheker asus litshua, the lie of the horse, for those who count on the horse to save them, which means thinking that the horse will save you in a time of war. If you have a good horse, then you can win the war. Like today they call it tanks. Back in the day they call it horse. Or today they call it F-16. Or they call it missiles, or they call it all kinds of names. Uverov chelo lo yimalet. Even though the horse is so strong, if Hashem doesn't want, he cannot run anywhere. Hine en Hashem el yereav. Here is the eye of God focusing on those who fear him. Look how many times it repeats that it's great to fear God. Not like today some of the speakers brainwash the people with lies. It's not good, we're not promoting fear, it's not good to act under fear, everything by us is love. Enough with these lies and nonsense, enough. You cannot come and contradict the words of God and think you know better. We don't act like that. By us, darkei noam, everything is pleasant. Yeah, we saw where your pleasant way arrived. We do see. We do see how many millions of people made tshuva from all your pleasant ways. Hashem already know the people. He said, it's true you need pleasant ways. It's true. But you also need people to fear and to know that life is not a picnic. Life is not a picnic. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. Some people think, don't worry, everything will be fine. We get to the bridge, we cross it. Who told you get to the bridge? Who told you you'll be able to cross it? Maybe you'll be buried. How do you know you'll cross the bridge? What gave you such confidence? What? Where does this confidence come from? It can only come from a heart of a rock, or it can come from total stupidity. No other words for that. A person that I'm giving you an example. Today, in a generation that we live in, that every hour I get at least one email about a new cancer patient. Is it possible to walk on the street without fear? I'm asking you. If you see every minute, every hour, you get at least one email. Pray for this one, pray for that one, cancer for this one, cancer for this guy. Non-stop you hear this word. Non-stop, again and again and again and again and again. Can you live with no fear? Like the problem doesn't exist? If you're a total fool, yes. Somebody is fool, is not afraid. If you see in a war, every second a bomb is falling. This guy died, this one died, this one died. And bombs are falling. Nothing, no problem for you. Moshe, run away. Don't worry, I'm sure everything will be fine. When I get to the bridge, I cross it. Boom, something fall on his head. So Hashem said, what's wrong with you? I said, I tell you the truth, I didn't believe you're going to throw one on me also. He said, but I throw on your friend, I throw on your cousin, I throw on your neighbor. Don't you see millions of people get hurt? What makes you think you're anything better than them? Why do you think that person that got sick, you're anything better than him? That he deserved it and you don't deserve it. Why? Why do you think so? What makes you think that you're better than him? What makes you think that he lost all his money and you still have your money, that you don't deserve the same? You know you're nothing better than him. You know it. Yeah, you know yourself. So why are you so confident? One thing, a person that is scared is smart. Remember this. Two things indicate if you're smart or not, or if you're a stupid person. One, if you have shame, that's a sign that you're smart. And second, if you have fear, that's a sign that you're smart. Shame and fear. Shame and fear. And there's one more thing. You can predict the next few steps. רואה את הנולד. You see a car double park, and you're behind it, right away you slow down. Why? There's always a possibility that the driver will open the door and you bang into his door. But fools don't think like that. It's going to be okay. I have the right to go. You have the right to go, but the fool will open the door and you're going to bang into his door and kill him. What do you mean you have the right? In Israel, they have a saying on television, on the streets, on the roads, don't be right, be smart. Because if you be right, you'll be dead. Better you be wrong and stay alive than you be right and be dead. Right or wrong? But not everyone understands it, apparently. So, to finish this mizmor, Hashem eyes on those who fear Him and expect His chesed. Lamyachalim lechasdo. Those who sit and say, Hashem, I'm counting on you to save me. My whole confidence, my all hopes are only in you. Not the tanks, not the soldiers, not Obama. Obama for sure not. But, you know, yeah. להציל ממוות נפשם, to save them from death, ולהחיותם ברעב, and to give them food in times of starvation. נפשנו חיכתה להשם, our souls are expecting the help of Hashem. עזרנו מגיננו הוא, is our strength, is our shield. כי בו ישמח ליבנו, our heart will be happy only in Hashem. כי בשם קודשו בטחנו, we trust His holy name. יהי חסדך אדוני עלינו כאשר ייחלנו לך. The chesed, God, your chesed will be on us according to how much we expected. The last verse needs an explanation. Let me explain to you what I mean. Imagine a kid, your son comes to you and say, Abba, Dad, I need a lot of things from you. But I don't want you to give me everything. I only want you to give me based on how much I'm hoping for it. The more I'm counting on you, you give me more. The less I'm counting on you, give me less. Usually you don't hear it from your son. Your son wants everything one way or the other. But in the tefillah, David HaMelech wrote, Yehi chasdecha Hashem aleinu ka'asher ichalnu lach. Your chesed, your gift, your free gift, your kindness, your help should be according to how much we are wishing for it. Which means, if I go to work, and in my mind, I make the money, not Hashem. Hashem says, whatever work it is, you work, you make your own money. But if I go to work and I make a little effort, and I don't kill myself, my competition lie and tricks and steal the customers, and I say, I'm not going to go to his level. I still will stay straight. And I lose another deal, and another deal, and another deal. 2 months, I'm not closing anything, and the crook already closed 6 deals. And what do you think? What does a person think? A person think it doesn't pay to be honest. Only the reshaim, the thieves, makes money. What you don't know, that many of these thieves eventually use this money for things that you don't want to have. Check their life, see where the money goes in the end. What do you think? They want to steal, Hashem can stop them. They have a free choice. But they will never enjoy the stolen money, never. Not only they won't enjoy it, they'll pay double and they will get punished for stealing. Right now, it's still by them. How many people had millions of dollars in their bank account for years and one day the FBI froze everything? But for a few years they thought we're very rich. Oh, I have $50 million in my bank account cash. I had one day a phone call from a righteous woman. I need to buy, I think 15 mezuzot or 20. I say to her, but you already have mezuzot, because I remember she ordered from me mezuzot for herself a few months before. I got her the best mezuzot. So again now she's ordering mezuzot. So I ask her, but you already have good mezuzot. What do you need another? She said, for my brother. And I say to her, what do you mean your brother? Your brother didn't have mezuzot until now, or they were all not kosher? She say he didn't have mezuzot. I told her a Persian guy doesn't have mezuzot in his home. We're not talking someone 7 generations disconnected from Russia that doesn't even know what mezuzah is. We're talking someone that 1 or 2 generations ago, his grandparents were rabbis in Iran and lovers of Hashem. You kill them, they won't leave the house without mezuzah. How did he come to America and became such a goy? So what happened, I ask? She say, with tears, don't ask. Like this, don't ask. My heart dropped. I thought another cancer case. That's what I thought, because I'm used to it, unfortunately. I told her, what, cancer? She say, worse. I say, worse? I was afraid to continue to ask. She said today in his business, the IRS marshals, like FBI, secret, with badges, came into his big business, put handcuffs on his hand in front of everybody, took him to jail, and they froze his bank account and took $50 million from a bank account he had in Israel. From there they froze the money. Look how much power they have. So then she started to scream, but I didn't know my brother is so rich. Every time I told them, can you contribute a little bit to this family who doesn't have what to eat? He said, I'm broke, I don't have. Can you help this rabbi, he needs help for his shul? No, I don't have. Can you help this one? I don't have. 50 million cash laying in an Israeli bank. They took away everything. Now he wants to buy mezuzot. Chazak u'baruch. Very good. Toda rabba. Very good. Do you understand what's going on here? 50 million. He thought, ooh, I'm a big boss. Who's going to tell me? Look, this is in my checking account. Imagine how much other things he had. If it's the money laying in a bank account. He thought, my future is secure. What happened? You don't know what's going to be next, especially in this country. Things change here in a speed of the light. People that are down, all of a sudden they're up. People that are up, all of a sudden you meet them, they're down. Crazy what's going on here. That's why it's like a Russian roulette. Who is going to get the bullet next? That's really what life here in this place is. Person has a big pharmacy, making millions, driving a Jaguar, Rolls Royce, Ferrari, another one, and another one. The next week you call, where is he? Don't ask. All stores are closed, all his money are taken, his homes are all on liens, and he's in jail. Why? Insurance fraud. Finished. Doctors on the top of the world, making fortune, living in nice mansions, every other weekend in the Hamptons, on their boat. The next day, sitting with rats and cockroaches and murderers from Harlem and who knows where, together in the same place. Why? Medicaid fraud. You have no idea what's going on in this place. I hear it. I only hear about the tragedies, unfortunately. The only thing keeps me insane, some people can question it, but the only thing that keeps me insane is the Baalei Tshuva that comes every hour. Another email and another good letter. Saved my life. My whole family became Shomer Shabbat. I didn't know anything. Your CDs woke me up. That's what gives me like another 2-3 hours to live. Otherwise, you go crazy from what you see, from all these tragedies out there. That's the punishment of being a public figure. When public figure, not everyone hears the tragedies. Who hears the tragedies? The rabbis. When people have problems, who do they run to? To all rabbis. All the rabbi here, rabbi there, they run to them, to somebody to give them hope. I always say in a hospital, everyone is religious. In a hospital, you have the highest level, highest rate of believers in a hospital. Which hospital? York Avenue. What's the name of that hospital there in Upper East Side? Sloan, that hospital. I happened to visit few people there in that place. Over there, everyone is religious. Jews, non-Jews, atheists. I want to see one person stand in Sloan Catering. What's the name of it? Catering. I want to see one person over there stand and say, I'm a proud atheist. I doubt it if it haven't happened there, inside the building. Outside of the building, there's a lot of heroes and fakers. I want to see inside over there, one person stand, say, Rabbi, get out of my room. I'm a proud atheist. Don't bless me, don't pray for me, don't talk to me about God. I want to see one. Maybe there is. Maybe there is. I've never seen one. Did you ever hear about something like this happen in hospitals? Only the big shots on the street, like Paro. Mi Hashem she'eshma bekolo. Who is God that I'm going to even pay attention to what you say? He said to Moshe. What happened right after that, 2 weeks later? Please pray for me and ask Hashem also to have mercy on me. What happened? When he started to get on his head, all of a sudden he became religious. The point is to be religious before the problems begin to fall on your head, not after. Because after, it's also good, but nothing compared to before. When everything is nice and smooth and working and you're healthy and you're making and the children are okay and the marriage is okay and, life is nice, now it's the time to say, Hashem, how much I owe you. Not after you got the punch and now, oh, please save me, help me. יהי חסדך השם עלינו כאשר ייחלנו לך. We'll do one more chapter and we finish for today. Chapter 34. We'll give a short summary about chapter 34. This Mizmor is, of course, praising to Hashem as usual, who is watching those who count on him and destroy the wicked people. That's very strong speech for the people, the followers of Hashem, to count on him. The conclusion of that Mizmor is how much Hashem is willing to do for those who fear and respect him. Now you have to remember, there are two kinds of fears. Two different fears. What? One called Irat HaOnesh, and one called Irat HaRomemut. Irat HaOnesh is simple fear from the punishment. If you'll do this and this and that, this is how much you're going to pay. If you'll do this and this and that, this is how many years you go to prison. What makes the person not do what he wanted to do? Only the fear from the punishment. Not his belief that it's the right thing to do or not to do. Nothing to do with belief. I know I'm going to do it. I'll pay too much of a price. I don't want it. No, I don't want it. Take away the punishment, of course he runs to do it. That's a very low level of servicing and following Hashem. No, it's not so good. However, there is a higher level. It's called Irat HaRomemut. That a person learns a lot of Torah and learns about God so much, and he learns a lot about what he already did in the world to all the wicked people, and how he saved us, and how much he does for us, and learning some little bit secrets and Kabbalah, and what's happening in the upper worlds, and what's heaven is, and all these things. Then it brings a person to understand that Hashem is unbelievable. It's huge. There's no words to describe his greatness. And so therefore, a person understands, he says, wow, I have a relationship with the creator of the world. I happen to be a Jew. Nobody asked me. I got lucky. I was born into the right nation. He declared in his book that I'm his son. He loves me more than the rest of the world. The world is full of billions of people, but are not as important in his eyes as he declared in his book. And he gave me an opportunity with a ticket to materialize it, to go to life of eternity. So this master of all universe and all the galaxies and all his greatness and power, he cares about me, the little mosquito, what I'm going to do next. It's going to upset him or to make him happy, like a real father and son. How can I go against him when I know who I'm dealing with? How is it normal, Bichlal, that a person will dare to make one sin when he understands who he's dealing with? Just like the famous story that Rav Saadia Gaon, that was one of the biggest rabbis in the world 1,000 years ago, he got into a motel in a big snowstorm, and they didn't know who he is because there was no Google back then that he can check the faces of the rabbi. People heard about him, but they didn't know how he looks. And he got into the motel, and all rooms were taken, and they did him a favor, and they gave him an opportunity to sleep on the floor, on the hallway. Otherwise, he'll freeze to death outside. So he said, there's no rooms where you can sleep on the floor. Put your things on the floor and sleep. And in the morning, one of the people recognized that the biggest rabbi in the world is sleeping on the floor like a dog, and he started to scream how something like this happened in the nation of Israel, that such an important holy chacham was sleeping all night on the floor. And he started to cry and to scream, and all the people started to come from the rooms. What happened? He said, do you know who this person is? Rav Saadia Gaon, and the owner of the hotel came and started to cry. He fell on his knees and was holding his hand. Rabbi, forgive me. Rabbi, forgive me. And the rabbi said, I have nothing to forgive you. You okay? You gave me a place to sleep. All the rooms were taken. What are you supposed to do? You did me a favor. I have nothing to forgive you about. You're good. You actually did a good thing. But I learned from you something very important about life. Right now, I just learned something very big in life. He said, before you knew who I am, you treated me and you had regular treatment. Now, when you understood who I am, Look how you started to shake and almost fainting and crying and going crazy, and you can give everything to fix what happened. If you knew, you would give me own room. So now you understand what the problem, that people don't know who they're dealing with. That's why they make mistakes. If we would know, if we only know who Hashem is, if we only know, we would ever do something against him. The problem is we take it for granted. Some people think Hashem is my buddy, my friends. We went together to training in the army. That's how they think. But they don't understand. You are here in Hashem, but Hashem still pay attention to you, which is amazing. Really, it's confusing, by the way, a lot of people. Many people do not believe that it's possible that the great God care about what they do here. There was one Rasha, big Rasha, Spinoza, Shem Reshaim Yirkav, a Jewish philosopher 400 years ago, that started to say, there is God, he created the world, everything is fine, but he cannot be that he cares about what we do here. Stop with all these things, basically destroy the whole Torah with his speeches. Even the Christian church put him on a ban. And the Jewish Beit Din wrote a letter, no one is allowed to talk to him, to stand next to him, and needless to say, to do any business with him. He was completely isolated until he died, like a dog. Only later, the wicked people discover all his wicked, evil things that he wrote, and very stupid as well, and they made him a hero. Why? That they have a philosopher to count on. But the bottom line is, now what was his situation was? What was his situation? Not like today. Today, people that speaks like him sit next to the rabbi on a stage. You understand what a fake world we're in? Nobody writes letters against them and put them in a garbage that no one is allowed to go near them. Here they make his life hell on earth. But today, someone like that, he decide in a board what's going to happen in a shul. Someone that doesn't even believe in Hashem, that marry Christine, that mechalel Shabbat, that does all the worst things you can think of, and he comes on Shabbat at 10:30, shows up in shul, sitting with his big belly, and he decides who's going to do what, and if the rabbi says something, he says, sit and be quiet. Why? Because he writes a check. And where the check comes from? From all the money he steals from his customers. Where the check comes? From this Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Where does he make his money, this Rasha? That's what's happening today in the world. But back in the days, somebody like that couldn't step inside the shul. Say, do us a favor, save us from the punishment of sitting next to you. Please, don't come. But today, everything is the opposite. That's why the wicked people never change. They die like this, because it's our fault. If we would tell them, listen, you betrayed God, you spit in his face every day, I don't want anything to do with you. I'm not going to support your crimes. This is what the whole Tehilim is about. Mesanecha Hashem esna Hashem. Someone who put an X on you, I cannot stand him. Someone that hates you and is ungrateful to you is my enemy automatically. That's what David HaMelech wrote, not me. I didn't make the rules. I want to tell you, I want to ask you a question. Somebody comes in front of you and spits in your father's face. But this is a person who usually likes you. He always was nice to you, always shake your hand, always tell you Shabbat Shalom in a shul. But now in front of you, he came and spit in your father's face. After that, you can shake his hand. What happens if a minute after he spits in your father's face, you run and shake his hand with a nice smile and hug him? What does your father understand? That you hate him. Right or wrong? What does your father going to understand? If he came to your father in a shul in front of everyone and spit in his face, and you ran right away to hug him, what Hashem understand? What your father understand right away? My son is done with me. Why? It's dancing on my blood. I was humiliated in front of everyone. Instead of coming and give him one to make him fly to hell, he comes and hug him, and that's what we all do. People spit in our father's face every day, every Shabbat, and we hug them and give them a chair on a stage. That's what we are. And that's the truth. I know it hurts. I know it's disturbing. I know you didn't plan to hear it tonight. But that's the truth. If you don't hear it, how are you going to change? If we're not going to hear it, how can it be that people with yarmulke on their head praise Reshaim? How? He's not religious, but he's a good guy. How can a non-religious person be good when he betrayed God every minute of his life? Eats not kosher, lie, steal, do horrible things every second of his life. How can he be a good person? How? If you're good to everyone in the neighborhood and you're horrible to your own father who gave you everything you have, you are a good person? If you're good to others and you're not good to your father, you are the worst. You're not good. And that's the truth. You're good to everyone and you're also very good to your father. No, nobody is great like you. You are Malach Gabriel. But you're nice to every stranger and you spit in your father's face by giving you, he gives you a house, he gave you a car, he gave you a job, he paid for your wedding, he raised you, he paid for your college, he bought you everything you have. You spit in his face, but you're nice to every lowlife on the street, and then you want to say that you're a good person? Where this nonsense came from? Remember, there's no such thing. It's illegal to say it. There's no such a thing. He's not religious, but he's a good man. Don't dare to say it. It's a big avon to say this. You're not allowed to say it. You say, he doesn't know about religion. Be'ezrat Hashem, one day he will be good to Hashem like he's good to people. Say something like that. But don't say he's a good person. Because someone that doesn't appreciate the oxygen that Hashem gives him, and the money, and his wife, and his children, and the house, and whatever he has, and the fact that he's healthy and able to move and to do things, he can never be a good person. Can never be a good person. Never, ever. He will be a good person in the day that he recognizes crimes against Hashem, and will say, Chatati, Aviti, Pashati, forgive me, I'm ashamed, I don't know where to hide from my stupidity, please give me a chance, I promise I'll fix. Right now he became 100% a good person, in 1 minute. It doesn't have to be an angel. No, enough, he admit, ומודה ועוזב ירוחם. Modeh, admit I was wrong, admit I wasn't fair with you, and right away the mercy comes. As long as you're not admitting, no mercy will ever come, not in this world and not in the next world. And just before we finish, this Mizmor is, David, is chapter 34. David is asking Hashem, he said, Kol ma shebarata nifla, everything you created is wonderful. But why did you create craziness? Why there are crazy people walks in the street and talk to themselves? Hello, Mr. John. How are you, Mr. Smith? You know these people on the street, in the park? You know? So David HaMelech asked Hashem, why did you create craziness? Why? He has schizophrenia, all kinds of things, and nobody understands why. Why they are in the world? Hashem said to him, one day you'll understand. One day you'll understand why you need craziness in the world. And then when David escaped from Shaul, Shaul was chasing him after the fight of Goliath, right? That when David was running away, and Shaul with his soldiers were chasing him, right? So there was the brother of Goliath. He was the servant of the king Achim. And he wanted to get the sword of Goliath from David HaMelech, because David had the sword of his brother. So he was telling the king, give me permission to go and hunt David HaMelech and bring him to you, that we can kill him. And he said, okay, go get him. So when he took David and he brought him to Achij, what happened? David made himself look like crazy. You know, he made all kinds of faces and talked to himself. And then the king said, Achaser meshugaim ani? I don't have enough crazy people in my country that you went and brought me a crazy Jew to here. Get him out of my face. And that's how his life got saved. That's like in the Israeli army. Do you know that a huge portion of the soldiers, they get dismissed in the first interview because they pretend they're crazy. They send them to the psychiatrist. You know, all kinds of things. Like, excuse me, I'm talking to you. He makes himself like a monkey. After 2-3 visits, say, okay, profile 21. And there are some people who say, if you keep me one more day, you're going to find me hanged. I'm going to hang myself. I hate life. I cannot be here. You put me here one more day. Remember that I said here, it's recorded. I told you, he said to the psychiatrist, you leave me in the army one more day, you're going to find me hanged in a shower. Don't say I didn't tell you that. He's afraid. Well, tomorrow is going to be hanged. It's the end of my career. Right away dismissed. So today, they announce in the army no more dismissal for threats of committing suicide. Why? Every other soldier gets out of the army because he claims he's going to commit suicide. Very easy way out. They say no more. Now it's going to be serious investigation. We're going to make it a lot harder. Why? The secular soldier found a way out. The religious people don't go to begin with, most of them. But the secular also wants dismissal. And that's what they do, pretend that they're crazy. But what's the price? If you have a profile 21, that means you're not normal. They don't give you driver's license. It's very hard to find a job. It's affecting you. One day you want to marry a girl, a father understands that you got out of the army. They don't want you. So there is a price to pay. It's not so simple. So David says like this. It says, Hashem said to him, now you understand? Now you understand why you need craziness? Even that you need in the world. Everything has a reason. Let's read the words of this Mizmor and we finish. LeDavid, a song that David wrote, בשנותו את העמו לפני אבימלך, ויגרשהו וילך. We read it on Shabbat. בזמן, when David was changing his manners in front of Avimelech. Avimelech was the king of Plishtim. Actually, his name was Achish. But why they call it Avimelech? Like Paro. All the kings of Egypt, doesn't matter what was their name, they gave them a title, Paro. You understand? All the same thing, the Plishtim, all of them were Avimelech. Look, Avimelech 1, Avimelech 2, Avimelech the 3rd. So, it says, when David made himself look crazy in front of this Avimelech, the king of Philistines, and he kicked him away and he got rid of jail. Avarcha et Hashem bechol et. I will bless Hashem every minute. Tamid tehilato befi. Always his praise is in my mouth. Be'Hashem titalel nafshi. In the salvation of Hashem I brag that Hashem did so much for me to save me. Ishmeu anavim ve'ismachu. The humbled and the people that are down to earth will hear how I got saved, and they will have hope, because they are very bad. People are in jail. People have bad life. When they find that somebody got out and Hashem made him a miracle, or people that are very old and they never got married, when they find out that somebody 46 or 48, after 30 years he was looking for shidduch, finally found one, they get hope. One hand, some of them get jealous. Why him and not me? That's not good. But to get hope, when one person that I know is my age, he just got married, that means I still have hope. It gives you like a shot of energy. Oh, it's not too late yet. So it says, all the people that are down will hear and will be happy. How I got saved. Gadlu LaHashem iti uneromema shmo yachdav. Sing with me together to Hashem. And we all speak about his greatness together. Darashti et Hashem. By the way, this is the source that we have to pray in Minyan. That the prayer in Minyan is together is much more powerful than you pray in your house. Gadelu LaHashem iti uneromema shmo, all of us, yachdav, together. Berov am adrat melech. The more people come, the more honor it's for the king. If 5 people came to the show to clap for the singer, or 5,000 people, or 50,000 people, where the singer has more honor? When 5 people sit in a stadium, or 50,000? The more people come, the more kavod you have, no? So it says, all of us together praise Hashem. Darashti et Hashem ve'anani. I ask Hashem to save me, and He answered my prayer. Mikol megurotai tzilani. Save me from all my fears. Ibitu elav ve'naharu. Everyone who looks up to Hashem to save him, Naharu means the light comes back to your eye that were dark and depressed. Ufnehem al yechparu. Your face is now down in the ground with shame. All of a sudden, the joy came to your face. Ze ani kara v'Hashem shamea. This is the weak, the poor, that scream to Hashem, and He listens to him. Umikol tzarotav oshio, and save him from all his problems. Chone malach Hashem saviv leiream vayechaltzem. Hashem makes sure that His angels around the righteous people all the time to protect them and to serve them. Chone means park. Angel of God is parking around those who fear and love Hashem. You know, if you know you do everything the Torah say, around you somewhere right here there's an angel who watch over you, protects you, save you on the road, takes you, give you. Amazing. We say, Ki malachav yetzaveh lach lishmorcha baderech. Hashem order His angels to watch you on the way. You need the angels to help. These are the messengers of God. Ta'amu ki tov Hashem. Taste the greatness of Hashem. Only after you taste, you will know how great it is. Sometimes the food from the outside doesn't look good. What are you giving me? Taste, taste. No, I can't. Taste, trust me, taste. No, taste. If it's not good, speed it. If it's not good, I give you $100. Taste. He gets so curious, puts it in. Wow, I can't believe I almost lost this. Wow, give me more. Now you have to pay me $100. What do you think I want you to taste? But with Hashem, no $100, no 1,000, no nothing. Just taste and eat and enjoy. Ta'amuru ki tov Hashem. You don't know how great is religion until you taste from it. From the outside may not look so great. Yes, that's the way the Satan has to do. He has a job here to make it look bitter. After you taste, you cannot leave it. Ashrei hagever yecheseh bo. How lucky is the guy that hides and trusts Hashem to protect him. Yeru et Hashem kdoshav. The holy righteous people fear God. But they're righteous already. What do they have to fear? They're already tzaddikim. Fear will make you tzaddik. But if you're already tzaddik, why cause all the tzaddikim to fear God? They already fear God. Otherwise, they cannot be tzaddikim if they don't fear Him. So why is keep saying fear, fear, fear all the time? That's the Tanakh. It's not my book. I don't have rights on it. I wish I had. So what does he say? He said, fear, yiru Hashem kdoshav, ki en machsor liyireav. People who fear and love Hashem does not miss one thing in their life. Everything they want, they have. Kfirim rashu veraevu. Kfirim is the lions. Rashu means became poor and starved. They have nothing to eat. They became skinny, the lions. No food. ודורשי Hashem לא יחסרו כל טוב. The lions in the jungle, sometimes they get skinny, there's nothing to eat. But those who fear God always will have what to eat. Not one time, besides the massive tragedy of the Holocaust and the destruction of the temple, which was a very, very serious anger in heaven, but in general, over the years, not one time a Jew died from starvation. In Africa, many dies. In other places, people die from starvation. Jews don't die from starvation. נער הייתי גם זקנתי ולא ראיתי צדיק נעזב וזרעו מבקש לחם. We say in ברכת המזון. So it says, דורשי השם לא יחסרו כל טוב. Those who request for Hashem, those who follow Hashem, everything they need, they have. Because they don't have big eyes. They don't need Bentley. They don't need a 10 million home and another one and another one and a $10,000 suit and a $50,000 watch. They don't need all this nonsense. It won't make them happy even a bit. What they want is food to eat, something decent to wear, and lots of Torah and wisdom and holiness and harmony in a house and love and prosperity and all these things. And that's what they have. That's what they have because that's what's important. Lechu banim shimuli. Go, my student children, run to listen to my ethics, to my musar. Irat Hashem alamdechem. I will teach you how to fear God properly. Today, they'll put him in jail. If David HaMelech would live today, do you know how many Facebook pages they would have against him? If they have against me, and I don't say 1% of what he said, imagine how many demonstrations they would have. They would call him radical Jewish leader. Why? Because he speaks about fear and about strict judgment, and that the wicked people will be vanished from the earth, and only the righteous people will get saved. What? Are you speaking like that? What is this? Don't let him speak. Baruch Hashem, he got lucky. He doesn't live today. But soon when Mashiach comes, those people who bark, they won't be around to bark. Then he can continue to give his preaches. Irat Hashem alamdechem. I'll teach you how to fear God properly. Mi haish hachafetz chaim. Who is the person who is anxious to real life? Yesterday they published a video on the Chafetz Chaim from 80, 90 years ago, black and white. Nobody knew about that video. You see 1 minute, the greatest Jew in the world from 100 years ago, the Chafetz Chaim, in Radin, walks with all the big rabbis. By the way, there's a lot of other famous, important rabbis in that video. But obviously, the focus on the Chafetz Chaim. There's a lot of other giants that were there in the video that people don't know. Everyone knows Chafetz Chaim, because it was the main one. They see the Chafetz Chaim walks like this. You look in the way he walks, if you know a little bit body language, you see what a perfect traits he had. Just by the way he looked, you can see everything about a person. Mi haish hachafetz chaim. Who is a person who is anxious for real good life? Someone that went to Harvard. It's not in Tehilim. Relax. Someone who moved to Beverly Hills. Someone who opened a store in 47th Street. It's not in Tehilim, to the best of my knowledge. Maybe it's somewhere else that I didn't see. Mi haish hachafetz chaim. Who is a person who is anxious for real good life? Ohev yamim lirot tov. Appreciate the days of his life to see the greatness of this world. Netzor leshoncha mera. Sealed your tongue, your mouth from speaking bad. Usfatecha midaber mirma. And your lips from speaking lies. Be careful. Sur mera. Move away from the bad. Va'aseh tov. This is the way to do tshuva. First, to stop the sins immediately. Stop the sins. Now you begin to build yourself up. First, stop. Then you're going to come and learn what to do. But first, to stop. Which means, Mechalel Shabbat, immediately you stop. Your girlfriend is Christine. Goodbye. Don't call me anymore. I'm a Jew. I cannot have relationship with anybody but Jewish people. That's what Hashem say. Not that I don't like you. Not that you're a bad person. Maybe you're even better than me. Maybe you're a righteous Gentile and I'm a wicked Jew. Whatever you say, you're right. It's nothing personal. I wish you well. I'm sorry, but I can't do against my God. I'm sorry. Samson fell in the hands of Delilah. She confused him with her beauty. And what happened in the end? They took his eyes. They took a knife, burned it, and burned his eyes. Shimshon, the prophet, they burned his eyes and made him blind and put him in jail like a donkey. Was turning the big stone. Tortured him because he trusted her, and she turned him into the soldiers, and that was his end. And you know, that's the Tanakh doesn't bring us this story because they wanted Hollywood to develop. No, because they want to teach you what's the end of people that make serious mistakes in life. And it says, Sur mera v'aseh tov. Move away from the bad and do good. Bakesh shalom verotfeu. Ask for peace and search for the peace. Don't look for fights with people and things like that. Give up. Be humble. No fighting and revenge all the time. Enough. Enei Hashem el hatzadikim. The eyes of Hashem is aiming to the righteous people. Ve'oznav el shavatam. When they open their mouth, Hashem listen carefully. Why? Because their mouth is clean from lies, from lashon hara, from all the bad things. Pnei Hashem be'oseh ra. The face of Hashem, not the eyes. Look, they changed the language. With the righteous, the eyes of Hashem on the righteous people. By the wicked people, the face, charon af, the face of Hashem, be'oseh ra, and evil, wicked people, le'achrit me'eretz zichram, to cut their soul from life of eternity when they die, that they won't get there. Tza'aku v'Hashem shamea, scream to Hashem, He would listen to you. U'mikol tzarotam itzilam. When you have a problem, people ask me, what should I do? I tell everybody the same answer. Open the door, get in, lock yourself in, and begin to scream with tears, and you're going to see wonders. Wonders, big wonders for your problems. Karov Hashem lenishbare lev. Hashem is close to people that their heart is broken and suffer. Ve'et daka'ei ruach yoshia. People that lost hope in their life. People that are so down that they're desperate. Hashem will save them eventually. You just need the patience. It will happen. Rabot ra'ot tzaddik. Plenty of dangers and risks to the righteous tzaddik, to the righteous person. Umikulam yatzilenu Hashem. Hashem will save them from one by one. Shomer kol atzmotav. He watch and reserve each bone of his body. Achat mehena lo nishbara. Not even one broke. Temotet rasha ra'a. Hashem will make the wicked people collapse. Vesonei tzaddik yeshamu. Everyone who gave hard time to the righteous Jews will pay a heavy, massive price in the end. Sonei tzaddik, those who hate the good people, those who hate the ones who learn Torah, those who fight them, those who fight the good kosher rabbis, the price that they will pay eventually, words cannot describe. When they see how much they're going to get punished for what they did, they'll go crazy. What did I gain? And look what I'm getting now. Why? I wish I can go back. I will do the total opposite. It will be too late. One person told me today, my husband finally started to listen to you. And I know her husband hates me very much. From a year ago, can hear words of Musar. Very wicked person. So I say, wow, it's really days of Mashiach. For a minute I was happy. She said, no, don't get me wrong. He listens to you to find things that you say that he can use against you. He doesn't listen to hear the words of the Torah, maybe he'll do tshuva. No. Only to catch what you say, to cut it, that he can send to people and say, you're too extreme, you're too strict, look what he's saying. Right? To begin with, is not even trying to see that I'm reading from the Torah, that I'm reading from the Tanakh, that I'm reading from the Talmud. He knows it, but ignores it. What, you're a fool? You don't see that I'm reading to you one verse after the other? What, I make it up? You don't see that I'm reading? Where are you getting from? You hear a politician that gives a speech, he makes up things. That's his opinion. Fine. Now you understand, you argue about his opinion. But if somebody read to you from the Torah, what are you complaining? I don't get it. You can say, I don't believe in Hashem, I don't believe in the Torah. It's a different story, but what do you want from the speaker? The speaker didn't write the Torah. The problem is, you know why they speak so much against the good speakers today? Because there are other speakers who say what they want to hear. Don't worry, you can come to shul with a car. It's okay. One day Hashem will help. One day you'll be tzaddik. Don't worry, bring the whole family. Yes, don't worry, it's okay. I promise you, it's okay. Come. Why? Where does it say in the Torah it's okay? The Torah says don't dare to be mechalel Shabbat, no matter what, except life risk. To come to shul, it's a life risk. Where does it say in the Torah you're allowed to violate Shabbat? That's okay. I'm stealing in a business a lot. But don't worry, I don't steal from the Jews, only from the Goyim. The Goyim, no problem, it's mitzvah. But keep it between us. Don't worry. As long as you give to the shul 20%, don't forget. Where does it say in the Torah you're allowed to steal from the non-Jews? It's a very big sin. First, it's a sin from the Torah. Second, it's Chilul Hashem, another sin. Two sins. Worse than stealing from a Jew even. Because Chilul Hashem is the worst thing. When the Gentile will see a person that is calling himself religious that just stole from them in a business, what's the first thing he say? This is the religion of the Jews? And Hashem gets very offended. And it's your fault. Your greed made this person speaks against Hashem. So it says, Temotet rasha ra'a v'son'ei tzadik yeshamu. Those who hate the tzaddikim will get a huge punishment. They will be guilty. Podeh Hashem nefesh avadav. Hashem will redeem the souls of His servants, those who follow Him. Ve'lo yeshmu kol hachosim bo. Those who were trusting and following Hashem will not be found guilty. Who will be guilty but for eternity? All these people that I read about. Who will get saved? Be'ezrat Hashem, we will all get saved because we will be tzaddikim, we'll be righteous, and we'll do everything that Hashem told us to do, that we get what we deserve. We'll see you next Wednesday. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.